Today, I'm going to discuss a particularly favorite topic of mine, and that will be doom metal and the concept of doom. The structure of doom metal is rooted in the same scale as the blues genre, and its core sound is instantly recognizable. It typically uses slower tempos, low-tuned guitars, and a much thicker and heavier sound than any other type of music. Along with this loud, down-tuned, and distorted wall of sound, doom metal is characterized by massive use of dissonance, especially in the form of the tritone, which is a restless interval, also known as the devil in music, said by some to help expand consciousness, therefore frowned upon by medieval theologians. The first explicit prohibition of the tritone seems to occur with the development of Guido of Arezzo's hexachordal system in the early 11th century. Later, with the development of Baroque and classical music, composers began using the tritone for a specific gloomy effect, as Franz Liszt did to suggest hell in his Dante Sonata in the mid-19th century. Lyrics in doom metal often include themes such as suffering, grief, fear, and death, described in introspective and personal ways, or inspired by literature and spirituality, incorporating occult and pagan imagery. The post-World War II baby boom generated an unprecedented number of disaffected young people rethinking the direction of Western society. The emergence of an interest in expanded consciousness and occult practices helped to shift views on organized religion as well. By 1968, the year after a large march to the United Nations in New York City and a large protest at the Pentagon were undertaken, a majority of people in the US opposed the Vietnam War. Counterculture environmentalists were quick to grasp the implications of Paul Ralph Ehrlich's writings on overpopulation, Marion King Hubbard's peak oil predictions, and more general concerns over pollution, later cultural disintegration, and societal collapse. Experimentation with psychedelic drugs influenced philosophy and art, leading to the composition of solemn riffs, visionary lyrics, and prophetic mantras. The song Gypsy Ball, released on the 1968 album Outside Inside by the Californian band Blue Cheer, may be regarded as the precursor to doom metal songs. The following year, a mysterious Anglo-American band named 31 Flavors released an even darker song called Distortion of Darkness on their album Hair. The 1963 horror film Black Sabbath, starring Boris Karloff, and the 1968 film The Devil Rides Out, based on Dennis Wheatley's novel, inspired two young men from Birmingham, England, namely Ozzy Osbourne and Geezer Butler, to write the lyrics for a song they called Black Sabbath. The band, formerly known as Earth, which also included Tony Iommi and Bill Ward, renamed itself Black Sabbath, and the song was released on their debut album Black Sabbath on Friday the 13th of February 1970. The track Black Sabbath is widely considered the first doom metal song in history, soon followed by Hand of Doom from the album Paranoid, released on September 18th, 1970, which is sometimes mentioned as the song that gave the genre its name. Various ancient societies produced apocalyptic literature and mythology which dealt with the end of the world and humankind. Non-Abrahamic faiths tend to have cyclical worldviews, with the end-time eschatologies characterized by decay, redemption, and rebirth. In Hinduism, there are 4 epochs that encompass the evolution of humankind. Kali Yuga, the last of the four epochs, the one in which we currently reside, was foretold to be characterized by violence and decadence, with greedy and ruthless governments. New epidemics and natural calamities appear. People do not believe one another, falsehoods win disputes, and brothers become avaricious. As a result, the final incarnation of Vishnu, known as Kalki, will appear on a white horse. He will amass an army which shall destroy all evil and perversion in the world. At the completion of Kali Yuga, the next epoch will begin, Satya Yuga, in which everyone will be righteous, with the re-establishment of Dharma and piety. Similarly, Siddhartha Gautama described his teachings disappearing 5,000 years from when he preached them, corresponding approximately to the year 2300. At this time, knowledge of Dharma will be lost as well. There will be a new era in which the next Buddha, Maitreya, will appear, but it will be preceded by the degeneration of human society. Norse mythology depicts the end of days as Ragnarok, that is, the twilight of the gods, heralded by a devastation which will seize our planet in cold and darkness. The sun and moon will disappear from the sky, and poison and smoke will fill the air. There will follow a battle between the gods and the forces of chaos. Eventually, the oceans will completely submerge all the land on Earth. After the cataclysm, the world will resurface new and fertile, and 2 human survivors will then repopulate the planet. Conversely, according to some ancient Hebrew worldviews, history unfolds along a linear path. The world is ultimately headed toward God's final goal, which is to judge and punish humankind. The book of Revelation describes the events leading to Doomsday. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are summoned. Hail, fire, and blood rain onto the earth, followed by meteorites which destroy most of the planet. A huge army of locust-like soldiers and horsemen nearly obliterate all life on Earth. A dragon chases a pregnant woman. A 7-headed beast emerges from the sea and another from a cave. The latter forces all the people to bear the mark of the beast, 666. Poison wipes out the few surviving plants and animals. The woman reappears, sitting on the 7-headed beast. She is Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations. At the Battle of Armageddon, the 2 beasts, the dragon, and all wicked people are cast into hell. The book of Revelation was designed to unveil and expose tyranny and greed in antiquity. Doom metal lyrics seek to do the same in today's world order. They extrapolate worst-case scenarios as warnings for necessary social change. The deep vibrations of doom metal guitars reach down into the guts of its listeners to jolt them into waking up to the reality of their plight. As to the importance of awakening, here's a famous statement by George Gurdjieff. A man may be born, but in order to be born, he must first die. And in order to die, he must first awake. Aside from doom metal's home countries of England and the US, the genre has been very popular in Nordic countries and Germany. It has also gained a large following in Japan and Italy. I'm now going to wrap up this video with a very doomy quotation by Woody Allen. More than any other time in history, mankind faces a crossroads. One path leads to despair and utter hopelessness. The other to total extinction. Let us pray we have the wisdom to choose correctly.